Okay, so about 20 years ago, I was learning to meditate. I started to get these thoughts in my head that I should be a drug and alcohol counselor, and for reasons described previously, I dismissed that as just some kind of a squirrely imagination that had no real great value. And then over time, I started to have this other thought pop into my head, which was essentially trust the process and you will get what the guidance indicates that you're after. So the process was really to trust that it could happen. And so one day I was looking at a classified section of the San Antonio newspaper, and there was an ad that said, come to such and such an address in San Antonio and see if we can put you to work as a nurse's aide. And I wasn't doing anything at the time, and so I went there, and it was some kind of a huge social services program that I'm able to recognize now in retrospect. They had all kinds of psychologists and psychiatrists and MMPIs, which is a inventory that tells the tester some of the conditions that the test taker may have. And boy, I qualified as having so many psychological disorders and addiction issues that boy, did I ever qualify for their social services. Anyway, I got to the occupational therapist, and he looked over some of my work history, and he said that he thought I had a little bit more on the ball, and do I really want to be wiping people's asses for a living? And I said, oh no, I'm sure I don't want to do that. And he said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I've been thinking lately about being a drug and alcohol counselor. He said, no, that's college. We're just training some people here to keep them off the streets and out of jail and out of the system, not going full-blown college tuition for people. And I said, yeah, okay, so, but you asked. So he said, wait a second, let me see what I can do, and come back next week. And I came back the following week, and surprisingly, even to him, he said, I'm not even sure how this went. I just felt compelled to ask. And he said that the board of the people who were running this huge social services program said that if I saw a psychologist once a week and processed through some of my garbage, and saw a psychiatrist and took whatever meds they threw at me, and kept my grades up and my attendance up, that not only would they pay for my tuition, they'd also pay for my books. They'd also give me a little gas stipend to get to and from San Antonio, and even food stipend to eat once a day. And that was back before I got honest, so I'd go to a buffet and line my pockets with potatoes and whatnot, and be able to get through to the next day. And that is really the beginning point of which I found that if I pay attention to the guidance, then good things are likely to happen. Now, I'll say this about the whole idea of good things and the spiritual journey, is that I've certainly come to learn that when one asks to be in alignment with whatever the flow of the universe is, which is how I see this, that doesn't mean that it's just about puppy dogs and rainbows and hitting the lottery. I believe that some of what God is up to is cancer and divorces and challenges and problems that we have to meet and we want to try to overcome. So the big teaching, or the big thing that I have to offer, is that I used to be so logical and practical, and had to think that I would have to see it to believe it. Well, what happened was I had to believe it to see it. And so when I opened my mind and my way of being in the world to the idea that maybe there's something that will help me to get in the flow of the universe and stop trying to swim upstream or hold on to the rocks in the water, but just to, as they say in recovery, let go and let God and see what happens. That made all of the difference. And so it's hard for me to not want to pimp that idea to anybody that'll listen, because it has been such a great value to me that I want anybody that can benefit from it to benefit from it. So that's the short of it for now. I will probably do more talking about spirituality in the event that I'm still around to do this podcast, to do this YouTube channel. Maybe I need to do a podcast. In any case, all of that remains to be seen. What I want to talk about next are some values for everybody, I think, which is not just stress reduction and anger reduction and managing all of that stuff, but how to go through it in a way that actually serves us in a positive way. So that will be coming up probably next. Thanks for listening. Bye.